because you came for her wedding, she was supposed to show condolence, or she was supposed to call you. Thereby, you were not patient. You started calling her out. It seemed like there was already something at the back of your mind. Chinelo and Ruby ojiakor is trending. For a lot of you who do not know, Chinelo is alleging that Ruby ojiakor did not show care when she lost her younger sister. But when she wanted to get married, she came to her to sell her ashwebi. She honored her. So Chinelo is upset and saying Ruby ojiakor is two-faced. Anyways, Chinelo, RIP to your sister. I pray that God gives you the heart to bear the loss. This pain is one pain that nobody wishes for anybody. Accept my condolences. Now let's dive into the matter. For those of you who do not know, Chinelo wrote on her Instagram story and put a message there where she said she sent Ruby ojiakor a message expressing her grievances and telling Ruby on her DM that, oh, you didn't call me when I lost my sister. It's not fair. But when it was your wedding, you know, she explained her grievances. I'm going to put the chat right on this video. And she went as far as putting on her story and saying that when Ruby wanted to get married, Ruby reached out to her, sold her ashwebi to her. She came for the wedding. Coming for a wedding is quite expensive. But when she lost her sister, Ruby did not even show care. Nollywood are two-faced and all that. Let's address this. Chinelo, I'm going to tell you something. And I want everybody to learn from this. Listen. Not everybody is your friend. Not everybody you attend their wedding is your friend. Not every colleague is your friend. Not every Nollywood is your friend. You need to understand what is called friendship. Ruby has a life. The way things are going on with you is the way things is going on with her. You need to understand that. Because Ruby reached out to you to buy her ashwebi doesn't make you people friends. Yes. Now, a lot of you might say, oh, blessing, don't say that, but Ruby would have. Now, listen, that's where I want to dive in. Chinelo, you sent Ruby a DM, but you were not patient enough for Ruby to respond to that DM. And in the DM that you sent to Ruby, it was entitlement. Even from your message, you were feeling entitled. Like she should have, because you came for her wedding. And from the way you sounded, you and Ruby are not friends. From the way you sounded, it was obvious that it was just her wedding that entangled you guys. Maybe she likes you. Maybe she felt, oh, you are in a Sabah. She wants you to own. We could have as well said no if you could not afford the ashwebi or you were not around. There were people who bought her ashwebi and didn't come. And there were people that did not even buy the ashwebi that still came. That underlying word of ashwebi and you buying ashwebi and going for wedding, it was a bit petty. For me, I felt you would have just said, Ruby, sis, you know I lost my sister. You could have at least called me. You could have at least showed. You understand? Nobody is a demon. If you came from that perspective, Ruby would have apologized and say, oh, sis, I didn't know. I didn't see it. See what happened. See what happened. Like I said, I have grown to understand that everybody is going through something. Now, just because you posted something on social media doesn't mean that everybody saw it. There are sometimes that you can post and people are going to see it like 4 days later. Yes. So the truth is, I felt the right thing that you would have done, since you have Ruby's phone number and you've sent her a DM, you would have waited for her to respond. I'm not sure that Ruby knew your sister. I'm not sure that Ruby had a relationship with your sister, your sister that you lost. So there was this entitlement mentality of you saying, because you came for her wedding, she was supposed to show condolence, or she was supposed to call you. Thereby, you were not patient. You started calling her out. It seemed like there was already something at the back of your mind. I don't know if you get me. Because if Ruby was to be your friend, you know that point you are friends with somebody, she would even come for the burial. But it was obvious that you guys are just acquaintance. Practically, social media follower. She likes you. You like her vibe. She wanted to wear. She said, oh, Chinelo is pretty. I would like her to be part of my ashwebi. Sometimes ashwebi is not your friend. So. Ashwebi, some people bring ashwebi. They don't know you. You can just find people you like because you want. People even pay people to come for the ashwebi. Yes, if you see fine girls because you want to color your event, it doesn't mean that we are friends. Because you came for my wedding does not mean that we are friends. Sometimes you want to grace the occasion. Sometimes you're coming from a friend that knows a friend. You know, it's a ceremony. So for me, that is where I said, I think you got it wrong there. there was an entitlement in that statement by saying, because you were holding on to the fact that she would have sent her condolences because you came for her wedding. And you were saying that it is when Ruby wanted you to come for her wedding, that was why Ruby became all lovey. But that is not true. And I don't think that is a right phrase. I know you're hot. I know you're grieving. I know you're, in pain. But I feel like let's take this correction, because I don't even like what I'm reading on the media. You made Ruby look like a very bad person, which is not necessarily nice, right? She's not a family member. She's not your best friend. She's practically just an acquaintance, right? So I felt a better approach would have been better. You saying, sis, I lost my sister. You couldn't even reach out to Audio Kwama. Ruby will tell you sorry. Any sane human being will apologize and say, oh, I'm sorry. This was going on. Oh, I'm so sorry. This was what happened. This was what happened. This was what happened. So I just felt it was a wrong, approach, right? And for people who are dragging Ruby, I just feel like a lot of people are just finding opportunity to just cling on to something and drag, somebody. Everybody have a way of approaching things. Like for me, I like Chinelo. I don't know her one-on-one. I just like her content and I followed her. So I was scrolling through social media and I saw where she was crying. I'm sure that a lot of people didn't even watch that video. They swiped past. But me, I was conscious to know what was happening. And I clicked on the video and I saw that it was the burial, of her sister. And I started going down to her page to understand. You understand? Because not everybody is following this story, right? And Chinelo, this story didn't really go viral. Right? Bloggers didn't carry it. So not everybody necessarily know the gist. Some people might even see that video and be like, oh, why is she crying? Oh, RIP, right? So I had to now go down to read, to now say, oh, stuffs like that. I even had to go to Chinelo's TikTok to go and follow up. Then I was so moved because I've never really seen Chinelo cry that much. I just see her do her swag, dress up, look beautiful. That was the first time I was seeing her so emotional. I was moved. I started crying. Immediately I was crying. I sent her a DM. And while I was talking to her in the DM, I was crying because I was moved. Because I've never seen Chinelo like that before. It doesn't necessarily mean that I know Chinelo. That's the honest truth. I'm so sure that when Chinelo saw my DM, she was shocked. Because maybe I might have been the least person that she expected to send her that DM. Right? Because we are not close. And she felt, oh, because I attended Ruby's wedding. Oh, you understand? Ruby was supposed to share. But no, we have things going on with us. Honestly. So I'm going to say, let's use a better approach next time, okay? People have a lot going on with them too. And Ruby, please, if you see this video, you could just privately share your condolences. Maybe Chinelo loves you so much and your condolences would have meant a lot to her. You understand? Sometimes we don't really know where people place us in their lives. So that's the reason why she might have reacted like this. So please, despite what is going on online, endeavor to just share your condolences and tell her, sorry for your loss, because she's actually hurting at this point. Anything we can do to relieve the hurt, please let us do it. So please, guys, the reason why I'm dropping my 2 cents is let us find a better approach and stop this feeling entitled. You understand? Just because you're going to treat a situation like this, or just because you are empathic, doesn't mean everybody's going to treat situations like that. A lot of people handle things differently. So let's not just draw the curtain or draw the line, and let's always be patient for people to respond before we conclude.